In this video, we are going to be talking about 7 signs that shows you are becoming mentally matured in life. Hey beautiful people, my name is Achi Unifo Brandon. My goal for the channel is to educate, to motivate and inspire people to do things that inspire them. So I would really appreciate if you can hit that subscribe button. My goal is to monetize my channel this year, and also like this video because all these things are really going to help me grow my channel. Without taking so much of the time, let's jump straight into the video. The very first sign that will show you are becoming a mentally mature person in life is when you value skill more than how much you value money. And this is a really big virus that is eating our society today, because a lot of people, a lot of young people in their teens, in their 20s, instead of using that time to build a skill for themselves, to learn something, to develop a product, to build their expertise on something, to have an experience of something, they spend that time looking for money. Then get into jobs, part-time job, then get into on skill level because they value money more than they value skill. But when you get to that situation in life where you realize having a skill, investing in yourself by getting a skill is the most important thing you can do in life, means your level of maturity has gotten to the next level. Because technically, when you value a skill more than the way you value money at the point, it's just telling yourself you value money more, but you don't need that money at this time. Because you know, if you spend that time, the present moment you are at that time, if you don't have a skill yet, if you spend that time developing your skill, a high income skill for that matter, you can use that skill later on in the future to make as much money as you want. It could be in a business, it could be in a job, whatever field you choose to study in. The second sign that shows you are becoming a mentally mature person is when you think long term, you think in 5 to 10 years time. And a lot of us, a lot of people don't think about this thing. Once we want to get into something, we think about the benefit that thing has for us this time, at this moment. But when you are mentally matured, when you get to a level in life where you start thinking, what are the advantages or the disadvantages this thing is going to bring into my life 5 years from now, 10 years from now, means you have gotten to another level of maturity. That's when you see people start making the decisions. They will start investing money, they will start saving some money, because they already know 5 years from now they are not going to have the same strength, they are not going to have the same drive to make the money they are making now. So in order for them to still have some cash flow in the future, they start thinking about that time later in the future. What are they going to do so that when that time comes, they still have some money, even though they don't have as much strength to work? The third sign that will show that you're becoming mentally mature is when you focus more on investing. Now, when I talk about investing, I'm not just talking about business. I'm talking about investing both in the business side and in yourself. Because once you realize in life, the only investment that your rate of return is guaranteed is investing in yourself, then you have gotten to another level of maturity. You might put money in a business, it could fail. You might invest in someone else, that person could fail you. But if you invest in yourself, you have that knowledge in you, you have that skill in you. The only way you're going to fail is if some kind of disaster happened to you, something that is not within your control, and you are not able to perform how a full human being is going to perform. But so long as you've spent a lot of time, a lot of money, invest in yourself and become the best version of yourself, there's a guarantee that someday you're going to use that knowledge, that skill, or just your body to achieve something big later on in the future. So if you have not been at that level where you are thinking of investing both in yourself or in businesses, that's something you definitely need to consider. You need to start thinking now. The fourth sign that shows you are becoming mentally mature is when you realize little things does not excite you anymore. For instance, you were that kind of a person that you could not just wait for your friends to call you on a weekend, let you guys go out and party. You could not just wait for your brother to call you and you guys go out and grab a bottle of drink. But when you get to that point where you realize those things does not excite you anymore, but you would rather spend your weekend or your time at home or in a library somewhere, studying and gaining some knowledge, or doing something that is going to make you productive, or even just going to the gym, or even just cooking some healthy food. It doesn't matter. But when you realize all those things that used to excite you when you were a teenager, when you were growing up, when you realize those things are not even excite you anymore, then that's actually a good sign that you have gone to another level of maturity in life. The fifth sign that shows you are becoming a mentally strong person in life is when you take responsibility for the action, for the things you do in your life. You don't blame people anymore, because a lot of people don't take responsibility because they fail to understand that there becomes a point in life where the mistakes your parents made, the mistake your uncles made, the mistake your spouse made is not important. What is important is, what are you going to do at this point to rectify that problem? What are you going to do at this moment to get yourself out of that situation? If you do not get to that point in life where you start taking that responsibility to adjust some of the things, to adjust some of the mistakes you've made back in the future, or some of the mistakes people have made and has affected you in the future, means you are not yet matured enough to see these things. And if you don't take that responsibility to do that thing now and solve that problem, the problem might extend to your own family in the future, because you have not solved the problem your parents caused, and you will give birth to children facing the same problem, and they might wake up. If they are not mentally strong enough, they might not take responsibility, and they might also be blaming you again instead of taking action to solve the problems you created for them in the future. But if you are at that level where you have forgot everything that happened in the past, you have forgiven some people that wronged you in the past, it could be your parent, it could be whoever, and you realize now is the time to keep my head straight and try to do something to make my life better, then you have taken your maturity to another level. The third thing that shows how mentally mature you are becoming in life is when you start to take your health seriously. And this is something I'm trying to do as much as I can now. When you get to that level where you start going to the gym, you start watching the things you are eating, you care so much about how much time you are sleeping, just because you know these things are so important. And if you don't start working on them now, later on in the future, it might get to a point where you might not just be able to control it. Like, if you don't start eating healthy now, it might cause you a problem in the future that it's going to be difficult to solve that problem. You might require a lot of money to solve that problem, if at all the problem can be solved. If you are not doing exercise, if you are not going to the gym now, sometime in the future you might start putting some kind of weight that requires a lot of work to get rid of that in the future. But once you understand this thing and you realize it's better to start working on this thing now to prevent yourself from working harder in the future, or to prevent yourself from spending more money in the future in order for you to solve a problem that you could just actually start solving them now, then that means your maturity has also gotten to another level. The last but not the least thing that shows how mentally mature you have become is when you think before you talk. And for me, when I was growing up, if something happened, I just start talking. I don't even have the time to think. But now, I'm trying to make myself in a way that if something is happening, I try to pause for a moment and think the havoc or the peace that the word I'm sending out will create. And sometimes I've realized that just pausing for a second and just thinking that some things are not meant to be said has maintained a lot of peace between me and some people for a long period of time, just because I thought for a second and something said, don't voice that word, don't put out that word there. And also, I've spent a lot of money on this because I was trying to get into a business when I was a lot younger, and your friend will just come up to you, hey, I have this business. I don't even think about it. I don't even go in for some research. I don't even have any knowledge about the business. I take my money and I put into that business. And guess what? Every single time I always lose that money just because I was not able to think before taking an action. And with that, we have come to the end of this video. Hope this video was helpful. If that's the case, like the video, share this video so that other people can also benefit from this knowledge. You might also consider watching the video somewhere up here, because I think it's also a nice video that you're going to benefit a lot of knowledge from it. Stay blessed, and I will see you in the next video.